so we've talked about Bret Hart, about Montreal, about him going to WCW, but then in March of '99, it felt like things were turning a corner because in Toronto, Goldberg speared him, and Goldberg's knocked out, and he has the metal plate under him, and the fans are going crazy. And then later that year, Bret Hart would finally win the WCW World Title in November of '99, and then obviously has the career-ending injury in December. Do you think if he hadn't had that injury, could that have been a beginning of a resurgence for Bret because he finally got the belt and he was finally kind of had a bit of a groove? Was there a chance that Bret could have salvaged his WCW run had he not had that career-ending kick in December of '99?
Well, I mean, that's obviously unknowable. I mean, it had been obviously a difficult year for him in the ring, and obviously a tragic year for him outside the ring. If you remember, he had that match with Roddy Piper. I think it was the February 8th Nitro, in which he lost the US title to Piper. Mm-hmm. And I remember writing at the time that it could have been Bret's worst ever singles match. I mean, that was just a disaster for him. I mean, the angle with Goldberg, he was obviously in his home country. He did get over there. I'm sure everyone at the time was begging, he begged the question, and everyone was asking him, people were asking throughout '98, why didn't he visit Canada more often if Bret was going to receive a reaction like that, even when he was playing heel? So he left after the Goldberg thing, didn't he? Did he come back a couple of weeks later? I think he did. Or he came back he came back a short time later after the Goldberg thing. Then obviously his brother died. He was granted leave, on sympathetic grounds for obvious reasons. Returned in August, I believe it was, as a natural babyface. Of course he was. I mean, he did have some good matches with Booker T. He had the famous match with Chris Benoit on Nitro. Then, as you say, he reached the final of the tournament at Mayhem and became WCW World Champion for the first time. I think actually prior to that, and he won the US title again from Goldberg. I think he had.
Yeah.
So it did seem like his career was on the right track. But then, this is the Russo era we're in. So everything's falling apart. Mayhem and the Bret Hart title win was like a little island in an oasis of feces. So I mean, these were very difficult times for everyone in WCW. Then he joined the latest attempt at the NWO, which I think was doomed from the off. Obviously, he then suffered the injury in the match with Goldberg. I mean, looking at the state WCW was in December of '99, then January with Russo quitting and then going to the old school booking committee and Hogan back, and things were so dull. And then we had the so-called Dream Team, which people really thought that Russo and Bischoff might be able to turn this thing around. And there was a little bit of optimism there in March, April, and that very quickly faded or was flushed. I mean, you look at the big picture of WCW, I mean, I think it would have been very difficult for anyone to shine there because of the chaos and the confusion and the, scatterbrained booking. So, but I mean, obviously we'll never know. I mean,
do you think?
I don't think so. I think it's my theory. That's what I believe. I don't think it would have been the start of a huge, comeback for him. And I think had he not suffered the kick, had he not had to retire, I mean, the best thing he could have done really was request his contract release, go home, and then, maybe work something out with Vince. But I know that was so raw still in the 2000s, and they needed a long time, many years, for the wounds to heal before they could then reconcile, which they did in, was it 2005, wasn't it, when they did the DVD?
Yeah. Well, because Vince called him in 2002 when he had his stroke, and then they finally kind of made up in 2005. I mean, I know that because, like you mentioned, even if Bret hadn't got injured and WCW was sold as it was in 2001, it kind of feels impossible that Bret would have been ready to go back to WWF and to wrestle again there. Yeah. It feels like he just needed more time, which is a shame because he would have been, if he had come back in like 01, 02, if he had been ready to go, I mean, he could have done so much good stuff with so many people.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, I mean that that Bret Hart Kurt Angle dream match, which we never got. I mean that
Hmm.
could have been amazing, and there was so many other things he could have done there. It would have been such an asset to the company. But I mean, WWF wouldn't have bought his contract because he was getting paid so much money, and he would have just continued to collect on that. Obviously, Time Warner did buy the guys out. I think it was in 2002. It was. That's right. They were all bought out in 2002 for nearly, it wasn't 100%, but it was close to 100% of the value of the contracts. And that was what cleared the way for Goldberg to come in 2003. So, I mean, maybe he would have been ready to go by then. I mean, we'll never know, Kenny. And obviously, he had the stroke. And I mean, it's really hard to know how it all would have played out. But I mean, it's an interesting topic to discuss. And obviously, it is a real shame that his career ended in the way it did and he didn't get to have that one last glorious run in WWF. And had he gone there in 2001, I concur. I think he would have achieved that. And I think that would have been really good for him. But, again, would he and Vince McMahon have been able to bury the hatchet then? And that's a question in itself. And the answer is probably not.
Yeah, well, I mean, because Vince did try to get him to come and be the referee for the main event in WrestleMania 18 as well, so they were always trying to reach out to him, but it just felt like he needed more time. So, thanks for watching the video. If you want to support the channel, you can sign up to our sponsor, ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN means that when you go online, your data is 100% secure no matter what you do on the web. And if you maybe want to watch Canadian Netflix or American Hulu, ExpressVPN have servers in over 100 different countries. We have this amazing Black Friday deal available where you can get 49% off, and the deal is available all the way through to December 14th. All you need to do to sign up is go to itrwrestling.com/VPN.